Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Cancer. Tonight we have that energy of the Lovers. Now, don't get scared, don't get annoyed, don't say, okay, I'm not watching this one, it's about love. I get it. I am not hugely into love readings myself. Not that I'm opposed to them. And yeah, love does come up, but this archetype, the archetype of the Lovers within the tarot, this is a symbol of unification. If you could imagine the moon, the sun coming together and birthing the star, right? The star archetype, the dream. And so this all begins in this sacred coupling, the mixture of opposites, the filling out of one's wholeness. The Lovers is something that begins to appear as we get deeper into our shadow work, as we clear away some of the old passageways. We untangle some of those blockages. And suddenly, this opportunity to see within ourselves, to see within the world, kindredness. The beloved emerges in this place of deep work. And so when I see this, I think, okay, this could be manifesting on so many levels, right? We do the self-work, we start to see the benefits of the work that we're doing, and opportunities arise, and not just opportunities that are fleeting, right? Although those come as well, but some of these opportunities are building blocks. They are the thing that is going to cement your pillars together. I don't know. I got mixed. That's a mixed metaphor kind of thing going on there. Anyways, let's let's see what these tea leaves are going to tell us. Now, I want to go ahead and say to you, thank you for being here. Fully and absolutely, it is my honor. I'm always happy to see you, to feel you, to commune with you. I hope all is well. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. And if you have a prayer request, please put it in the comments, or you can email it to me over at ulaishere@gmail.com. Let's get started. All right. So the first thing I saw is it looks like an outfit. It reminds me of a child's outfit. The shirt being up here, little collar, and the little pants. Okay, so immediately my mind goes to somebody's baby clothes or their keepsakes from childhood. Now, I do feel like for some reason this has to do with baseball, or kind of I feel like a little bit more of a masculine kind of outfit. And for some reason, this is coming up. I don't know if you maybe were doing some like cleaning and, getting deep into the crawl spaces and in the basement and moving things around. And here you came upon a box, and maybe it's your kids' stuff, or maybe it's your stuff, and you've been moving it around for the last many years, and you never really open the box. You just kind of, put it on the truck to the next place, right? We all have a few of those boxes, or at least I do. And so you pop that thing open, and you see these, potent items, right? Things that just bring back all of the emotions, the feeling of, seeing your baby for the first time at their first baseball game, wearing their cute little, baseball outfit or whatever it is. And it feels, it feels just happy. Which to me is so often when I get into these like little bubbles, I like to think of them as like bubbles or pockets of sentimentality, of nostalgia, of these movements of love and togetherness. And I think that's a big thing. It's the togetherness, the witnessing of this beautiful being. Right? This wonderful connection. And that could be you with your parents, you with your children, maybe it's a nephew. I don't know for sure. But I do feel like this is something that really, it really grabs you. It will be noticeable. Okay. So, we have a person here who's pointing. Okay, here's the person, arm, feet, whatever. Pointing, and here's the hand and the finger pointing upwards. Now, we also have a fish right here, kind of swimming through the person. So I do believe this is somebody who has money. And I feel like they behave as though they want the world to know it, right? And they're maybe like real bossy, real snooty. This might be like like a sibling or something that like you grew up doing the same things, having the same amount of opportunities and all of this. And your lives kind of went different ways and, so on and so forth. And I think that for whatever reason, if it's from their own work or maybe like, I don't know, winning the lottery or something, or I don't know, maybe they married into some money or whatever it was. There seems to be this like gloating energy. Also, and here's the creepy thing. Okay, so we have the person and then if you turn it this way, it looks kind of like a scary face. Look at these eyes and the mouth and a hat. It like maybe a little bonnet. We have a person walking a dog. So I almost kind of feel like this is, and I'm not trying to talk poorly of your family if this is a family member, but I really do feel like this is a person that is very insecure. So they boast about what they have or what they've, kind of gathered for themselves in their life, it's commendable. It's not easy to, I guess, rise in station or whatever you want to call it. But I don't, I'm not going to get into my own thoughts about, the validity of somebody's, monetary worth or whatever. But I feel like it's just, it's absurd. It feels absurd because it's like, dude, I know you. Like, we grew up together. We grew up on the same struggle meals, Like, I know what's up. I know who you are. Do you forget? And it's not even like trying to call somebody out or make them feel bad, but it's like, remember yourself. When you're with me, remember yourself, because we don't need to put on airs. We don't need to do this like pomp and circumstance and, the little dance and the, feeding them questions, that they want to answer. And like this whole like serving at the altar of somebody's damaged ego. Cringe a little bit, right? It's a lot of work. Now, we all do it to some degree, on some level, probably every day. With strangers, the small talk, being very complimentary, just to smooth through a situation, whatever it is, right? We all have to like kind of do this dance at times. But I think for you, you are over it, because the other part of this is, you love this person, you know this person, you have a long history, but man, can they become a monster? A monster. Let me just say, a monster. They act wildly without any kind of respect. And I think this has always been the case, and this is why you try to be understanding, because this is like part of how they cope. And there's been no way to get through to them all these years to be like, dude, it doesn't have to be bad like this. We're family. We love each other. Yeah, we're going to fight, but we don't have to go all in, right? Like, it should be sparring. It shouldn't be like, the battlefield. We should be training here. We should not be tearing each other down, So I do feel like for you, you hang on to this feeling of maybe one day, right, it will click. And maybe it will. And maybe you'll never let go of that hope. And I hope that you don't. My hope for you is that I hope your optimism or desire to connect with this sibling or this person in your life, whoever they are, never goes away, because I do feel like there is a really sacred bond. On the other hand, I don't ever, ever, ever want to promote the idea of, and I need a little drink, I'm sorry. My throat is so dry from being outside work, like all of the, what is it called, ragweed and stuff. Oh my gosh. With the heat on top of it. Did you think you were going to get through a reading without me going on about the heat? I know, you're probably hearing it from everybody. It is hot here in America. But, okay, yes, I don't want to promote the idea that we should stay in any kind of relationship, any kind of dynamic where we are being mistreated. Okay? Let me be very clear about that. I will never promote pushing through something just to hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, they'll start acting right and not hurting the people around them. If that's emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, whatever, I will not ever promote anybody to stay in that. Okay, so if it is beyond, like, somebody making problems within the family and, you're constantly having to try to, like, fix things and all that. Yeah, we all have family members like that. We all have people in our lives like that. But then there is there's a line somewhere. Sometimes it's blurry, sometimes it's shifting, but we all know when somebody has crossed over into that zone of mistreatment, okay? And even more so than into abuse, right? So, do not abide that. That's all I have to say. But, if this is a regular sibling stuff, and this person is they absolutely have their moments where they lose it, I do. I see you in a place where maybe you need a break. I feel like it needs to, because look, they're pointing up here. And what I'm looking at up here is that we have it looks like an elk, or maybe like probably like an elk or a stag possibly. But we also have a fish. We have, it looks like 3 people. And then over here we have a person, a large, this is a very dominant person in the whole mix. And I think the person with the dog down here that I had seen, I feel like that is related to probably the sibling we've been talking about. I think they're a dog person, okay? So I feel like there's also this sense of protecting one another. And I wonder if there were 3 siblings, or maybe like 2 siblings and a good friend, or, something, but 3 people that really leaned on each other through tough times. And I think this is where it comes from. This is why you are never going to give up on them, because you did go through a lot together. And I think you know exactly why, and it might not be one thing, like one, terrible trauma or incident or whatever, but kind of a childhood filled with some struggles, right? And so I feel like this is all true. And I think the name up here, it looks like it's Mary. Or I saw Mary, but I'm also, when I'm looking at it, not in the viewer, it looks different to me. It also looks like it says Grail right here. Grail. Okay. But to me, it also reads as Mary. Mary. Okay. Grail and Mary. So these things, if we're speaking in like, Gnostic or even Hermetic, esoteric Christology, even somewhat like within Copticism, there is this huge emphasis on the Ace of Cups, right? The Holy Grail, the vessel of the thing, of the essence, the dew, the life-giving substance, water, right? Or mana, or amarit, or amarita, right? So then we have Mary, right? And this could be, now Mary Magdalena or Mother Mary, these are kind of 2 sides of the same coin within symbolism. Now, I'm not saying this as, what is it called? Like, historical Christology or Christianity. No, this is all symbolic, all esoteric. Okay, so these, if we think of like the triple goddess, right? We have the maiden, we have the mother, and then we have the crone. Okay, so we go from the maiden and the mother, and then we shift after Jesus departs. We shift from the maiden into the mother, and the mother goes into the crone. Okay, Magdalena, the inheritor of the church or the temple, she becomes the temple. Okay, so it is the temple that contains the most sacred vessel, and that's what comes into mind here. Okay, so to me, and this, I'm getting a little more esoteric than we usually do with our symbols here. This is like kind of a taste of like where my personal readings with myself kind of go. So here, to me, what this is all about is getting that temple within your life, within your being, getting that sorted, building the personal temple, okay? So it makes sense to me that you are you have been in a cycle of dealing with family things that are going on and with maybe the sibling or a friend or whoever this is. And as you are clearing away some of the mess that it has left, the wreckage that it has incurred over the years, I see you really feeling so attached to the cosmos, the universe. You are dwelling in this more existential place. You sometimes even feel like, almost like if you're looking at your life, right? You're at an art gallery. Your life is a beautiful, huge, huge, huge oil painting, right? And most of the time you're pretty close. You're looking at some of the, the regions within the painting and the details and all of that. And then there are times where you kind of want to reorient yourself. You've been looking at these little fine details. You've been sorting the stuff out in your mind. And you want to see it in a larger context now. So you step back, right? You keep stepping back and you can see more and more of the whole picture. And I feel like that's where you're at. You're looking at your life and there's a lot of clarity and a lot of honesty, I must say. I feel like you are being very honest with yourself about, what kind of needs to be done. What you need to do to kind of right your course. And I'm not saying that you're on the wrong path. I'm not saying that you've done anything that has, kind of thrown you off course. But I'm seeing this witnessing of this very sacred stag, right? This powerful, most sacred deer. And above that, we have the money, okay? And then we have, again, the Mary and the Grail and a feeling of, and we have this person up here that I talked to, this feels like a big, big energy, big personality. I feel like it's kind of like a rising of confidence. I feel like you are in a part of your life where you really do trust yourself more than you have in a long time. And I feel like you drawing from the energy of a masculine person in your life from childhood. Now, I feel like this maybe is like a grandfather, maybe like a great uncle, somebody who felt old when you were young. And I think that they transitioned when you were fairly young. And I feel like when you think of like, I need to get a nice deep breath. I need to puff my chest out. I need to, clench my fists and just get through this thing. I am just going to do the dang thing. Whatever it is, I'm going to see it to finish. And you draw upon the power of this family member because they were somebody that notoriously always had something going on. They always had projects and businesses and, they never weren't doing something. And they were always, the first one to say, I'll be there to help you move. I'll be right over. Let's, change out that water heater or, whatever it was. And I think as a child, you witnessed this and it was very, very impactful on who you are as a person, right? To witness true well, it feels like just a noble person, a good person, salt of the earth type of person, somebody who had struggled. You can tell when somebody has struggled, because so often they're ones that are much more giving of self, of time. They don't want to see other people hurt because they know what it was like to hurt themselves. So I feel like this is a big energy for you. And as you kind of work through some of this stuff, you have room to be building that beautiful interior temple. And this is a sacred place for you. This is the place where you meet with the divine within self. This is the place where meaning appears, right? Where ideas are forged. And I feel like this is a place where you are what is the word? I don't want to say performing, but you are dwelling within deep devotion. You are so devoted. And I feel like for you, the big thing that really sticks out is this idea of loyalty, this idea of continuing on even when it's tough. Now, I feel that we have a message. I feel like it's almost like maybe I feel like you have, it's like you have this impulse to go deeper with somebody, but what you do instead is kind of make yourself more busy. Like it almost seems like kind of counterintuitive, but I think this is like maybe how you've protected yourself a lot. Like when you have something rise within self and you're like, I want that. You avoid it. You just avoid it. You don't want to think about it. You don't want to like have desire for, I think maybe in some way, I don't know. Maybe there's a sense of like feeling weak when you want for something so much. And I feel like at times you can really, and I feel like for Cancer, a lot of times it's like really getting into work is a huge one. Like obsessing over work or your hobbies, fixations, favorite things, like whatever your current beloved thing is, right? Really, that's all, you go to work, you're just thinking about it. You can't wait to go home. You're going to, for some reason I'm thinking of like tabletop games. I don't know why, but like, not just like D&D, although let me just say, I don't know a lot about tabletop games, a little bit about role-playing games, but not a lot. So I don't know, something like you just get immersed in these worlds, right? And the other thing I think is sometimes it's almost like what I think of as like a search for oblivion, right? Just finding things that kind of numb you out. You disassociate, right? And so I feel like this is a turning point for you where you know this about yourself, that you can be kind of avoidant, but I think it's like you're tired of doing that. You're tired of the same old, like you know how it's gonna go. And now it's like, let's do something else. Let's just put our neck out there a little bit, you know? And so I feel like there's a shifting. There's a shifting in you. A desire for life to be a little different, for you to feel a little differently, to see something, want something, desire it, and think instead of, I better not even think about this thing. How can I start working towards this? Right? What are the things I need to do to make this happen? And that's where we're at. That's what it feels like. Now, the other thing that I keep seeing is there's a huge emphasis on the household, the house, the actual house, I think. And I have the word ear down here. So I feel like there's maybe some kind of fixing on the house, or maybe you're finally doing a little add-on, or, whatever it is, something. You're changing something about the house. Something maybe needs to be fixed. But I see this being something that at first feels very overwhelming and maybe really exciting. And of course, if you've ever done any kind of, massive yard work, or, building onto the house, or redecorating, or whatever, it's like a roller coaster every time. It's a roller coaster. So I feel you having this kind of anxiety about it, but at the same time, I feel like this is going to be like the theater for you to work out some of those feelings that are kind of lingering, any of the hard kind of stuff. And I'm thinking you're doing some demo, you're getting out all of that anger, the things you wanted to say to them, the things that, whatever, but you didn't, and you held your tongue and whatever. So you're going to let it out. And I could see this being a therapeutic thing, but also in the creating, right? In the visualizing and gathering of materials. I feel like all of this is fulfilling for you. It scratches that itch, right? That thing inside of you. It's okay, now I have a thing to focus on, right? And it's not a thing that you really want to stop halfway through it. You got to see yourself through this whole deal. And I think that is going to be, healing for you, honestly. All right, let's do our lucky numbers. Number 26, 41, 52. All right, and we will end with our wild offerings. Oracle cards. Yes. I always mix up oracle and affirmation cards. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to flip through, stop where it feels right. And it says, I need a little drink of water. Sorry. Just, if it's not one thing, it's another. All right, here we go. True love. Your wholeness and safety lie within. Not from a partner, but this sovereignty actually leads to the deepest intimacy for you to stop using others. Let me stand on my own feet, dear Lord, and know true love. This is what this year has been about for me, is reacquainting myself with myself, right? I know that this is work that's not always easy, but most necessary. It's like anything else. We have to stay up on our own love story, right? Sometimes we get busy, we get tired, things happen in our life, and we get away from ourselves, and, we don't necessarily kind of go out of our way for us like we would for others. And then, we kind of circle into another cycle where we're focused on that self-love. And, I hope that's true for you, because I've been working my thing off, literally, on my wellness journey and building myself back up, not that, and the big thing is I had a daughter, right? At a time in my life that I wasn't expecting it. And it was a most welcome miracle, of course, but I wasn't prepared at all. And my whole life has changed like 100%, that can be kind of in the process of that, one can lose sight of self because so much is changing. You're changing. Your world has changed and you're busy. There's a lot going on. So, for me, it was a big, big promise, a contract I made with myself that this year is about me. This year is about putting myself as number one in my priority list. And it still feels selfish to even say it, which is ridiculous. Why is that so hard for us to say, and even harder to say it to other people? Because it feels selfish? That is wild. But this is it. We're here. We got to do it. We have to do something, right? It's now or never, baby. All right, Cancer, I love you. Thank you for being here with me. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. All right, I'm going to hurry up out of here. This is getting long. Take care of yourself. We'll talk soon. Good night, Cancer.